Okay, so yesterday in teaming, what we did was we set up calendars and we got them put in Moodle sites. And the purpose of the calendar is very simply to provide quiz and test dates, maybe major project due dates and things like that. And the original purpose of this was to provide Cindy Edgman with information about test and quiz dates that were coming up so she would know who to expect in the Learning Lab. But of course, if we're going to make a calendar that has those dates on it, it would be extremely helpful for the kids and the parents to have that as well, so we went ahead and put these in the Moodle sites too. So I want to show you what we did. If you go ahead and log into Google Drive, and then you up at the top black bar you click on Calendar, you'll see your Google Calendar. And right now you may only have the one with your name on it over here on the left, or you may have several. It kind of depends on how much you've used this. But if you want to set up a new calendar for your class, then you go to the drop-down menu right next to the words My Calendars, and you say Create New Calendar. And you need to name it, starting with the letters VMS, so that we know what you're making a calendar for. So maybe I'm making a calendar for art. And you don't need a description or anything like that. Make sure that your time zone is GMT -6. It should say Central Time. You do want to share the calendar with others and make it public so that the public can see all event details. All right? Don't change that because we don't want anybody editing your calendar. And then you want to share with specific people. These are people that might need to automatically see this pop up in their calendar list, like Cindy Edgman. Okay, and she's Edgman C at friscoisd.org. And again, she can see all event details. If you need to share a calendar with somebody who needs editing rights, then you would change that to, make changes and manage sharing, or make changes to events, somebody that can also update events on your calendar. Okay, so you go in and you say Create Calendar. And then to add an event to the calendar, the easiest way to do that is to look at the month view. And up here at the top right, you'll see you can change day, week, month. Okay, if you look at the month view, and let's say I want to put maybe a quiz on the 10th, I can double click on the 10th. Do double click, don't just single click because it won't put it on the right calendar. Do the double click, title your event, and the important information to put on here is your I guess for electives you won't have on level versus pre-AP, but that's what we would start with ordinarily. But if this might be Art 1 or Art 2. So your level, your specific subject, and then your grade level, if that's appropriate. Art 1 may be a mix of grades. It may be more specific to say Art 1 than anything else for electives. So y'all may be a little different in this, and then just say test or quiz or something like that. If you get a really long name, it's not necessarily all that helpful. Hopefully the kids in art know what they're going to be taking the test over in art. The other thing you need to do on this page, so you titled it, now you need to change which calendar it's going to. Okay, very important, because if you put it on the wrong calendar, it's not going to show up where it needs to show up. And then you just hit save, and you'll see that that event shows up right here. And you'll notice that these are kind of grayed out because those dates have already passed. The dates that are coming up are visible in bright colors, and this is with all of the grade level core subjects showing right now. And so you can see how easy it is to kind of see what tests and quizzes are coming up for each grade. Very important to put that, for them to put that grade level in, but Art 1 is certainly descriptive enough for electives. Now, if you need to share that, or if you need to put that calendar like in your Moodle, for example, here's how you do that. You go over to your calendar and you click on the little, here's VMS Art that I just created. You're going to go to the drop-down menu, and then you're going to go to Calendar Settings. And you're going to scroll down, and you'll see this little blue HTML button in the middle. You want to click on that, and then you're going to click on Configuration Tool. And then this code right here is what we're going to copy to put in our Moodle site. So now I can go to the Moodle, And I'm going to go to my class. And what I'm going to be doing, make sure you turn your editing on. I'm going to be putting a activity or resource in here, and it's going to be a label. And it's the key here is that you don't just paste that code in the label text. You click on HTML and you paste the code there and hit update, and it will put that whole calendar right in there. Now, a couple of little things. If your calendar, like notice right here, I'm going to go ahead and save this so you can see in this particular theme that Art has, it's very narrow. It's got a very narrow section. Oh, and you might have to hit refresh, by the way, once you embed it so that it'll show up. And so I'm really having to scroll side to side to see that. So you can go in on this page where you are creating that code, and you can change the width. So I could change this width to be, maybe 300 pixels. Okay, and then you can see that that makes it very skinny, and it kind of gives you a preview, so you can kind of guess. Of course, 400 is going to be half as wide as 800, that kind of thing. If you do that, make sure you hit the Update HTML button before you copy the code. Now sometimes, depending on your machine, you may have to scroll a little bit, and that's okay because you're not going to avoid the scrolling altogether, because on small screens that's just going to happen. But this theme in particular was one where that centerpiece is very narrow, and so that would be a time where you might want to adjust the width of that calendar. Okay, so that's it about calendars. That same code can be used if you have a Google site. I know Athletics already has one on their athletics site. So if you have any questions, please come see me. And then make sure that you're sharing that information with Cindy Edgman so that she can have access to your calendars as well. Thanks.